Namaste everyone, welcome back. In today's video, I wanted to clarify 3 arm positions in greater depth. That is Tadasana, Parvahastasan and Urvastasan. Any standing asana, as you know, liberally uses these arm positions. It always starts with Tadasana and then we proceed with Parvahastasan and we take our arm in Urvastasan like Virabhadrasana 1 or retain our arms in Parvahastasan like Virabhadrasana 2. But these arm positions are critical to the alignment and energy transmission in any asana. Let's see them in slightly greater detail. I am sitting with you in Virasana so that I can be slightly closer to the camera and you can see how these arm positions manifest. Second, Virasana offers a great deal of pelvic stability so we can concentrate on the arm positions more liberally. Now, we will start. In Virasana, when I keep my arms down, remember my arms cannot extend in full length the way it will in Tadasana, but essentially the articulation or the alignment of the shoulder is the same when my palms are down, when my palms are inversely positioned on my feet. So this would be the Tadasana position that I'm talking about, which you will do with your arms straight when you're standing. Second position, when your arms are shoulder level, and third position, when your arms are raised up straight. Now, in Tadasana or any standing asana where your arms are down, we need to look at the alignment of the thorax, particularly the shoulder component, quite a bit in detail. That is, the region of the clavicle, how the upper arm or the humerus associates in the socket, articulates in the socket, and the shoulder blade itself. Now, when a person is asked to roll or broaden the shoulder, usually you will see that they very quickly shove the shoulder back. As you can see, this actually narrows the shoulder and creates a certain restriction. This should not happen. Also, another instruction, roll your shoulders back, is often construed as lifting the shoulder in a way that it chokes the neck and then choking the neck, rolling the shoulder back and then landing it in exactly the same position it started, where there is no real progress or transformation. We have to ensure that you are working on these positions quite accurately. For the first, we'll look at the clavicle component. I'm presenting a side, that is the right side, where I will be making the adjustments, and the left side, which is a control side, where it will just show the difference when something or when an action is done and when an action isn't done. So the left side will be a non-acting or a control side. Now, keep the arms by the side, right, or the arms straight if you're standing. Here I'm placing my arms on my feet and I'm really thinking of widening the clavicle. By widening the clavicle, we have to understand that a clavicle has 3 parts. The top or the first end of the clavicle, which connects to the sternum, the body of the clavicle, and where the clavicle inserts into the shoulder. And when I think of opening the clavicle, I must think of acting on each one of these sections separately. So I'm broadening the clavicle where it connects with the sternum. I'm taking the body of the clavicle wider and going all the way where the clavicle inserts into the shoulder. And when I do this, you will see that the adjusted side or the right side, the thoracic space broadens, the chest broadens, and there is horizontal opening, which on the unadjusted side isn't. That is the first adjustment. Second, how the upper arm is placed in the socket. The upper arm needs to orient itself toward the back of the socket to gain greater mobility. But there it's not really a straight push. Rather, the upper arm has to articulate into the ball and socket joint. It is a ball and socket joint and it has to articulate. So the upper arm rolls back and down. So the action is that. The upper arm rolls back and down. And once the upper arm rolls back and down, in response, you will see that the chest elevates. So clavicle opening broadens the chest. Upper arm rolling back and down in the socket elevates the chest, and both these are necessary. Then you will often see that when a person is asked to lift the side of the body, they tend to lift the shoulder blade inside, and this causes great constriction in the neck. The third is the shoulder blade must always be depressed downward when the arm is straight down. That is, the shoulder blade does not elevate and squeeze the neck shut. The shoulder blade releases down as if the shoulder blade is sitting in its own location without really ascending up or elevating up. So that depression of the shoulder blade needs to be added. And that together is your Tadasan's wide and aligned shoulder profile. Clavicles wide, chest wide. I'm doing both sides. Upper arm rolling toward the back of the socket, chest elevated, shoulder blade down, neck having maximum length. That is the straight arm position. Now again, I'll proceed with the right side. When I take my arm in Parvahastasan, the arm moves away or abducts from the side of the body. This creates a certain opening in the upper thorax, lateral armpit side chest. That is, this is the chest. There is the armpit, the side of the chest that is underneath the armpit that broadens out when my hand raises to the side. This is provided the shoulder alignment at the clavicle, humerus and the shoulder blade were intact in Tadasana from where the arm raised up. This creates an opening. From the chest, you will have to reach to the fingertips, creating that broadness. Again, you can see the adjusted side where the thorax is opening and the unadjusted side which does not sport an opening. Now when I raise both, you will see how the profile of the thorax expands out when I take my arm in Parvahastasan. Then proceeding to Urvastasan on a single arm. For Urvastasan, the palm should be facing the ceiling, not by turning the palm, but by rotating the bicep, which fixes the shoulder blade into the body, lifting the chest further up. Now, from there, you should sport an arm that lengthens. But when the arm lengthens, we have to watch the bottom or the lower thorax floating ribs. As the arm goes, the lower floating ribs broaden out. The lower thorax broadens out and the ribcage itself lifts away towards the ceiling, creating a lengthened spine, particularly a lengthened lumbar spine where the ribcage itself elevates away from the pelvis. Here we have to make sure that the bicep is long. If the bicep is long, it elevates the ribcage. If the bicep is short, it drops the ribcage. Upper arm, outer armpit. Outer armpit, if it lengthens, it makes sure the floating rib elevates. If it drops, the floating rib drops. So we'll have to watch all of that in how Urvastasan manifests, and I will show you these actions put together once again. Tadasanas, clavicle should be wide, chest wide, upper arm rolled towards the back of the socket, chest elevated, shoulder blade sitting down. Parvahastasan, from the chest to the fingertips, you will have to widen the arms away, creating upper thoracic broadness. As we go to Urvastasan, you have to turn the bicep out, up, fix the shoulder blade in and lift the arms in such a way that the lower rib cage broadens and lifts the floating rib away from a standard stable pelvis where the entire rib cage lifts up. Here the bicep should be long and the outer armpit should be long. The upper arm should be towards the back of the ear and not front of the ear, because if it came toward the front of the ear, the chest will fall, the diaphragm will drop. So you have to lift the arm and place it behind the ear. And then we then proceed to understand how this works in standing poses and how this manifests and aligns the energy component in a standing asana in our next class.